Welcome to Players' Championship 5 final. Gary Anderson, who's navigated his way through the draw, has been excellent state. Tournament average round 102, taking on the European champion Ross Smith, who swerved some match starts in his semi-final, but been clinical from Ross to set up this final with Gary Anderson. A win for Gary Anderson would see him climb into the provisional spots for the World Match Play. For Ross Smith, it'd be a second win, a second Pro Tour win, and continue his progress. But it's a tough obstacle for Ross. Gary Anderson's looked pretty fluent. He's dispatched of Gedwin Price in the semi-final. But Ross has won the ball and gets final underway here in Barnsley. I'm glad to say I'm joined by Rod Studd.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, this, and what I'm interested to see is, can Gary Anderson win this Players' Championship? Because at the World Championship at Alexandra Palace over Christmas and New Year, when Anderson was knocked out of that tournament, there was a lot of discussion, and we were involved in it, Mark. Is that the end for Gary Anderson? Will he just now disappear? Will he even bother to play on the Pro Tour? Will he bother with the Euro Tour? Well, not only is he bothering with it, he's winning on it, winning matches on it. Can he win the whole tournament?
60.
And that would really set the tongues wagging in the world of darts that Anderson is on his way back, not content to just put his slippers on and smoke a pipe and sit fishing lake. He wants to battle his way back up the rankings and prove that he can do it all over again. And Ross Smith, of course, is on the way up himself and looking to consolidate a very good year in 2022. So this is a very interesting final, interesting matchup.
The general reaction of Gary Anderson when he lost was disappointment in the World Championship. It wasn't of a man who was resigned to not playing again when he beat Madars Razma and then lost out to Chris Dobey. There seemed that sense of determination to get back, and that he's been threatening this kind of performance. He beat Dimitri van den Berg at the Masters in the opening round.
95.
Should have maybe beat Dimitri in the UK Open last week, but it's been clinical today. Victories over Monk, Van Veen, Critchmer, Keegan Brown, Chris Lamb and Gedwin Price.
60.
His lowest average of the day was the one against Price, 96. So it's been clinical stuff from Anderson, but he may find himself a leg down here.
Game shot.
And he does, as Ross Smith takes out 86. And it's not going to be in any way an easy matchup against the current version of Ross
72.
Smith, Euro champion.
Oh, let's not forget, we've been talking about the impressive stats of Gary Anderson today, but Ross Smith is the higher ranked player. He's the current European champion. Both players unseeded coming into today.
Yes, Mike, quite right. World ranking of 18, Ross Smith. But Anderson's still hovering around the top 20 at 23.
He's popped up a spot today as well, I think.
Yeah.
Leapfrog Bunting with that semi-final win, so
140.
slowly getting himself back up there.
And the aim, as we've said earlier on in the day, is for Gary Anderson to make the match play, because he won't want to miss that again, for sure.
Well, no, he hasn't missed it since he came across. He's made it all the time. He qualified as an unseeded player
60.
in his debut year in 2009. We lost out to beat Andy Hamilton. Eventually lost out to Wade, but he's always been there, and he's been a champion there.
Indeed.
So he certainly won't want to be missing the event full
168.
stop. And he's going the right way about getting himself there.
Yeah, he won that final in
95.
2018, which almost went to go into 2019. It was so long, as he nails tops here against Mensur Suljovic, which he eventually won. And here, in the here and now in 2023, it's 1-1 against Ross Smith as Anderson gets his first leg on the board.
140.
Many regard it as the greatest match play final, don't they? That tussle with Mensur Suljovic.
140.
They both exchange a couple of ton 40s at the beginning of the third leg here. I listed through who Gary Anderson had beaten to get to the final. Ross Smith had a tough draw. Martijn Kleermaker in round
96.
1. Then gentleman Jim Williams, Luke Humphreys in the number 1 seed, Dimitri van den Berg, Nathan Aspel, Martin Schindler. And he's throwing average
60.
for the day up towards 98. So he's been solid today, Ross Smith. And that's the brand of his darts. He's just a solid performer. And Anderson will have to earn victory here.
78.
The final, the best of 15 legs, first to 8. Most of the matches we've been enjoying this
78.
afternoon are the first to 6. So there's a little bit more leeway here, and the advantage of throwing the odd numbered legs is slightly diluted, but only slightly.
57.
It's still well worth having.
Yeah, that longer format just kind of takes the sort of, I'll say the pressure off, but just if you make a little error early doors, you've got a little bit more time to sort of recover.
Yeah.
Anderson looking for Pro Tour title 25. His first one came in 2009 in Newport. His last one came in
94.
Barnsley in 2020 when he beat Jeff Smith.
Needed the treble 18 there
56.
to leave the bullseye, and that gives Ross Smith the opportunity for 3 darts at an open
Game.
bed, and one of them suffices.
Yeah, good stuff from Ross Smith. He won't want to just stand by and be part of a fairy tale sort of victory for Gary Anderson. Ross Smith wants the title.
60.
Wants to get himself into the seeding spots as well. He's not in the seeds for the rolling 32, so he could potentially draw anyone tomorrow. So big incentive for Ross to just add another title.
140.
And he started the final well here, Ross.
$124. $134.
Decent switch from Ross Smith, who surprised everyone with that European Championship win last year, defeating
60.
Michael Smith in the final. But there was an impressive comeback. He trailed 8-3 against Peter Wright in the quarterfinals before winning 10-8. I think people sort of stood up and took notice of Ross Smith then, and from there,
93.
you can kind of tell the difference when he plays on a big stage. He's playing like a major win. He's had some impressive displays. Hasn't added another title since, but got him on the brink of a place in the top 16 in the world.
85.
He's got a chance to break here, Ross. Doesn't have to do it on this visit. He just needs to set this up.
Yeah.
Just double checking the score.
94.
Great tee-up shot. Anderson back on 172. So Smith getting a chance to put a bit of daylight in this final.
140.
Well, Anderson leaves double 16 just in case Smith misses. He's missed once,
Game
but
shot.
not twice and not 3 times, that's for sure. And that gives Ross Smith a real cushion now in this final. Still early days, you'd say, but a 2-leg lead and the throw here. So that's good business for Ross Smith.
Yeah, it's a good start, isn't it? But he'd be only too aware how quickly a lead can
140.
disappear. He was 3 up in the semi-final, and that was with 2 breaks against Martin Schindler. Then in the blink of an eye, he was 5-3 down. He did manage to get himself over the line.
79.
Survived some match darts, but just got to just keep doing what he's doing here, Ross. It's a great start. Got that break, needs to back it up
30.
here, and that doesn't help. That's a poor visit.
Holds a head-to-head advantage over Anderson of 5-2, and in last year's
60.
Pro Tours, 1 apiece. But I'm not sure any of that data carries much weight in this match.
$97.
Yeah, he's got himself a lead in this. Gary Anderson's switching down the board early. Going
96.
back up. Still, Smith, slight advantage. He may go for ball here. 25 on a ball will leave a finish.
99. $96.
So treble 24, the ball. Anderson on 170. It's a big ask.
63.
It's going to spark Anderson into action this final. It may do. Another one of them. Bullseye for 3-2. Pulls it low. And,
122.
disappointed with that effort at the bullseye, Gary. You could hear his response to it.
And Smith then will get a dart. Oh, he almost busted that. That was close to winning the treble. Double 16 is the target which he hits. But I tell you what, when he released that second dart, he must have thought, oh my word, what have I done? And it just managed to tuck itself in above the treble 20, gave him the chance of the double which he hit to go 3 clear.
Yeah, sigh of relief after that second dart, but like you said, clinical on the third dart, no mistake. Smith,
84.
halfway to Players Championship 5, and it would be a 5th different winner. Wins already for Ryan Searle, Danny Noppert, Kim Huybrechts and Dirk van Dijvenbode on the Pro Tour this year.
Ross Smith,
100.
very efficient on the double in this final so far. 6 darts at double thrown, 4 have hit the target.
45.
Oh, and Anderson with a mediocre visit, giving Ross Smith a chance to steal a march in leg 6, and another breaker throw, whilst not being absolutely fatal to Anderson, would be borderline disastrous to go 2 breaks down in a race to 8 legs with the other guy having the darts in the odd numbered legs, and really you're close to being out of contention.
Yeah, you're giving yourself a lot to do, especially at the business end of a tournament in a final. Anderson, he's got to be careful here. He's down the 20s.
81.
He forces one through. But Smith setup play, if he can tee this 197 up, he could give himself a big chance. He missed a trick, if you feel a little bit here, Ross.
65.
Yeah. Anderson to close the gap. And double 11 on the 1-2-4. Beautiful combination finish from the Flying Scotsman. The highest finish of the match and the first 3-figure outshot of the match.
Keeps the breaks a throw at just 1. Smith won the ball, so Anderson would have to break twice if he's going to turn this around. And if he's going to turn it around, shots like this are going to help his cause. 180 for Gary Anderson at the start of leg 7. Mentioned when Ross Smith won his only Pro Tour title in Coventry when he beat Brendan Dolan. He beat Gary Anderson in the quarterfinals quite comfortably as well, 6-1 on that occasion. That is Ross Smith's only Players Championship title to date.
Incidentally, Mark, that the first 180 of the match. Quite surprisingly, it took as long as the 7th leg for that max to arrive.
100.
Yeah, these two predominantly big 180 hitters, but we waited patiently. We're going to get another one.
Time was when Gary Anderson was the king of the maximum hitting, wasn't it, in the PDC? Maybe around the World Championship winning years.
Yeah, well, he even afforded to dump a 180 on the floor.
95.
Oh, yeah, against
Still
Phil
win
Taylor.
legs and sets, didn't he, against Phil Taylor?
That's right. Oh, needed the treble there, and that really would have made life very interesting
42.
because Ross Smith waits on 66 and now has a poke at it. 56 left, 16 would leave tops.
Big dart in this final, and just
26.
the wrong side the wire. Anderson may only get 1 though. Treble 17, the likely starting point. Now then, 14. There's got to be 14. Bullseye. And Anderson will
42.
be disappointed. Smith for 5-2, edging closer. It is 5-2. And Smith keeps that breaker throw advantage. He's throwing first anyway. Anderson can't really afford any more mistakes here.
Well, Gary Anderson certainly doesn't need an upstart like me to tell him that that was a mess off 67. To get only a dart at bullseye is nowhere near what he was hoping for. Wanted 2 at the outer ring, and certainly 1. Anyway, in any regard, he's 3 behind now, and he's got to really knuckle down, Gary Anderson.
Yeah, and he can't afford
85.
to drop his throw again, you feel. Must have a decentish lead in this leg.
97.
Decent switch with the last one for Ross.
$100.
Well, oddly enough, Anderson is averaging more than Smith here, 94 and change to 91 and change, which is, to the naked eye, it doesn't feel like that.
94.
Yeah, but Ross Smith, we said, he aims to be in the top 16. A win here would see him go into the
128.
top 16 at the expense of Dave Chisnell. Got to win this final. Brilliant
107.
setter. Be 8 for tops for 16 for the double. He gets it. Good dart from Gary Anderson. Ross Smith was waiting, hoping for some errors. And that was pretty clinical from Gary. Sometimes you get a little bit of change at the back end of the legs with Gary Anderson, but I'm not even convinced he went for the 16. He just chucked it in that sort of area, which we all do, but nailed the double 16.
45.
Keeps the damage of just one breaker throw.
Mark, you mentioned that Ross Smith could move up the rankings with victory here. That's off the back of the fact that we've got a very good database with a website that updates live in running the live rankings. Do you think players are in any way, shape or form aware of that during this kind of Pro Tour, or will they sit down later in the week and think, let's see where that left me after what I did on Saturday and Sunday last week?
I'm guessing Ross Smith would have probably known at the beginning of the day he needed a deep run, because it's a win, you kind of don't expect to win, do you? I mean, Ross Smith's a great player, and it's not surprising in a final, but yeah, he'll glance at it after. I don't think it's during the week. After we all have a little look what's going on after you've played a tournament,
46.
whether it's the race for the match for the rankings. But yeah, he'll definitely have a nose. I'm sure Gary Anderson will as well. Regardless how this final goes, it's good progress for Gary, and he'll want to be in the match play.
131.
I'm sure they know where they are in the rankings and who's just above them and by how much. And I'm sure that they, during the season, keep a close eye on that, because it's important, as you've already alluded to, for seedings and qualification for tournaments.
Anderson's making his move here. 6 darts to 158 minimum. Forces one through, and is going to get a chance to put this final back on throw. The breaker throw came in leg 4. Since then, it's been pretty plain sailing on throw. Anderson
100.
has been patient, and a chance for 5-4.
Tops.
Game shot.
Lovely finish from Gary Anderson. 2-dot combo pop. And as I mentioned a leg or two ago, Anderson averaging more than Smith is now 96, playing 91.5. And so Gary Anderson, whilst he won't know those exact details, will feel that he's playing pretty well and probably might feel he's playing better than Ross Smith. And if he can keep that in his mind, that, I'm playing better than my opponent, if I carry on like this and he carries on like he is, I can win this game, even though I'm a leg behind.
Of course, and the fact he's got it back on throw as well, before it kind of got to sort of 6 or 7, will just make him feel a little bit more relaxed about the situation as well. He won't be overly thrilled with the start to this leg, though. 6 starts without a big treble for Gary Anderson.
And at the moment, all he's thinking about is trying to win this match. But so in the midst of all this,
96.
It won't be in his mindset about, how he's playing generally. But I think, afterwards, Anderson could look back at this tournament and think, this is encouraging in terms of going forward.
Yeah, of course.
Very encouraging.
Gary Anderson, of course, when he gets in the final, wants to win.
Yes.
As does Ross Smith. But I don't think either of them will leave here today. They'll be disappointed whoever loses, but it's serious progress for the both of them. Gary Anderson wants to be at the match play. He's having to do it the hard way for the first time for a long while through the Pro Tour. A win would take him into those spots, but even a runners-up spot, he's knocking on the door, isn't he?
Well, I think,
77.
as we mentioned at the start, most people at the World Championship were sceptical that Anderson could win again. But I'm watching this thinking now, and if he won a TV tournament, I wouldn't sort of start thinking that's the biggest shock I've ever seen in professional darts. I think this bloke is still a contender.
Yeah, he's certainly not done, isn't he?
Doesn't look done to me, Mark.
No, sometimes his reactions, I'm okay, I'm not bothered, but he actually said it hurt when he missed the Grand Slam. It was the first time he'd ever missed it, then an early exit the Worlds. Could be 6-4 down here. Ross Smith missed down the ball, but it was the reaction. If you were a Gary Anderson fan, you kind of wanted, didn't you? You want him to a bit of determination.
Could have been 6-4 down, Mark. Could be 5-all. It's 5-all. 5-2 down he was.
Best of 5. It was only one break of throw, though, wasn't it? So he's experienced enough to know you can break that down pretty quickly. Ross Smith just got to try and regroup here.
100. 140.
Anderson averaging more still. We mentioned it earlier. 4 points more than his opponent. Ross Smith got the advantage of throwing first. Fine to Max.
180.
Key Max for Ross Smith. Only his first one. 2 in this
100.
final after 10 legs. And these are big 180 hitters. Still a really good standard though. Both can play better. There's been a lot of darts. Both have played 6 matches to reach this stage. Who can
100.
get over the line?
$81.
So Smith, 6 darts for 1-2-1. Stay up, surely. Well, there's an argument for 25 here. I like the 25 with the last start because you're leaving yourself a single to double combination if you hit the 25 or a bull. Got a bit of work to do, Ross Smith. I suppose
60.
if he hits the treble 15, it's the right shot.
Yeah. He's hit the treble 10, all right, to leave double 18. Now this
48.
is a very big visit, I think, in this final, because if Anderson can put this away, he'll be in front with a break. He wants tops. Oh, that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful from Gary Anderson. After his opponent missed a combination, Anderson takes out the 120, his second 3-figure outshot of the final, and so significant because it gives him a break of throw, it gives him the lead, and he knows now, Mark, 2 holes of throw, and he's the champion.
From 5-2 down as well. 4 consecutive legs for Gary Anderson, and Smith missed 2 for 6-5 himself, but Anderson, credit
95.
to him. The 120 goes, and I wouldn't say he's in charge this final, but it's advantage Gary Anderson, courtesy of that
91.
break.
Yes.
$180.
Ross Smith, though, finds his second max of this final.
That changes the tune a little bit, doesn't it? Quite a lot, in fact,
54.
because he's now got a big advantage in this 12th leg.
It's forced an error as well from Gary. A little wobble on that visit.
100.
Ross down to 126. Anderson not up the leg here, though. This visit, realistically, you feel he needs another one. Well,
83.
not that one.
Didn't need a treble one, did he?
No, and Ross Smith, again, like in the previous leg, he didn't set it up very well, did he? Yeah, opted not to go for the 19s.
Treble 18, the target here.
58.
Similar conundrum to last time, isn't it? He's got to try and find a treble to leave 2. He found the treble last time. He couldn't find the double. But back he comes, Ross Smith. Gary Anderson,
47.
who led for the first time when he went 6-5 up, and doesn't seem like it's going to last long.
Double 4. Oh, that bent the wire inwards. And that's in the bed. Well, Ross Smith comes back. Having lost the lead for the first time, he levels. 6 apiece. Great final this. And just 3 legs left, a maximum of 3 legs. Who can win 2 of them?
He's been resilient at times today, Ross Smith. He led 4-1 against Luke Humphries. Luke Humphries came back at him, but he held him off. He led 3-0 against Martin Schindler, trailed 5-3 and got over the line. Well, he led 5-2 here and trailed 6-5 and just got straight back into it. He's not letting setbacks affect the next leg and the leg after that. And you argue that's why he's a major champion.
60. $60.
Right, well, Smith has the advantage via the advantage of throw, but you wouldn't want to be too dogmatic about who would win from here. I'd say still
100.
pretty even, but maybe just slightly in Ross Smith's favour with the advantage of throw. But the way Anderson's been playing, he cannot be dismissed.
180.
And that could be a crucial maximum.
Max count level. Pretty much level in the scoreline, in the leg and in leg play. But Ross Smith
137.
takes himself down. He's edging closer. Anderson needs to respond again. And he can't.
45.
Does leave a finish, but it's a big ask. Smith to go one away.
20. Double 16 left for Ross Smith.
Game
Lovely
shot.
combination finish and puts him to the brink of victory.
Anderson needs 2 successive legs. Otherwise, there'll be a second Players' Championship title for Ross Smith.
55.
And he may get it done here. Door slightly ajar at the beginning of the leg. No treble from Gary Anderson.
Well, when Ross Smith led 5-2, he was in command. Then Anderson ran off 4 legs to go
180.
6-5, and now Ross Smith hits his 3rd maximum of the match to put himself in complete control. He's got back to 7-6 in front, regained the lead, hunting the leg that will give him the title. And that maximum, the 9 dart, not on the agenda, but he won't be
60.
too worried about that at this stage of a final. A leg in front and 84 points in front.
Anderson chasing. God, good
131.
switching from Gary Anderson. Gets him back in the leg. But Smith. Okay. Oh, he's going to try and force one through here. And he can't.
57.
So since that 180, it's been 6 darts out of big treble. And we're going all the way. Anderson not thrilled with that lie. He likes it above the top wire.
Well, this is tense stuff now. And Anderson, you can't blame him for taking his time. The line's not
57.
great. He just needs to recalculate what's going on. He leaves 157. Now, this is a chance for Ross Smith, you'd have to say. Another maxi would leave double 12.
140.
And the likelihood is, unless Gary Anderson get rid of his 157, Ross Smith is going to get opportunities to win the title here.
41.
Treble 16, treble 8, either would do. Another 16. Well, 8 will do for tops. Well, I'm not sure that
24.
was a deliberate 8. I don't know. He might have just thrown it at
I'm
the
with
wire
you,
in
Rod.
between the two. I'm not sure, but it didn't look like a really deliberate 8, did it? Anyway, he's still coming back for tops unless Anderson's got another 3-figure out shot.
Well, that puts paid to Gary Anderson's chance in this leg. He's not done yet, but he's going to need some errors from Ross Smith. He's just got to tee this up. But Smith, who's had 1 at
76.
tops already, is going to get 3 more. This to complete victory here in Barnsley in Players' Championship 5. And Ross Smith completes the job. And Gary Anderson's run to the final ended at the hands of the European champion. Great performance from Gary Anderson. But Ross Smith, his 2nd Players' Championship win. And victories throughout the day against Martijn Kleermaker, Jim Williams, Luke Humphries, Dimitri Van den Berg, Nathan Aspinall, Martin Schindler. And then a composed performance against Gary Anderson. There's the story of the final. Average is pretty similar. The checkout, the big one from Gary Anderson, 1-2-4, but Ross Smith held off the Flying Scotsman 8 out of 16 on the doubles, and he is our 5th different winner here in Barnsley, joining Ryan Searle, Danny Noppert, Kim Huybrechts and Dirk van Dijvenbode. Ross Smith completes victory, beats Gary Anderson by 8 legs to 6.
Championship 5. Ross, you have had some route to the title today.